What's going on, guys? My name's Nick Waters. Today we're going to be walking you through the contracting guide for the SBA. If you're a small business looking to get into government contracts, this is one of the best tools to utilize in order to help win government work. Right now, the government is about to start the fiscal Q4. So if you're looking to get in government contracts, the spending season starts in 4 weeks. Now, the first page on this contracting guide is going to be the Assess Your Business section. Now, assessing your business, essentially what that means is you need to do market research. You don't want to just get registered, right? If you're a restaurant, government contracts aren't typically going to be your main clientele. Now, if you're a cybersecurity firm or a general contractor, the government would be the biggest client for your industry. So the best way to go and do this, they have a link in here for SBA and there's going to be a lot of fluff in here. What I recommend to truly understand your marketplace is log into SBA. This tracks all the federal awards in the country. It's essentially the main database that hosts all awarded contracts. It's going to give you all the history, all the primes that are winning the contracts, how much the government agencies are spending, what times of the year are these contracts happening, and that should be enough data for you in order to analyze your company and just ultimately understand if government contracting and the government in general is going to be an ideal client for you. If the government is a good match for what your industry is, then the next step is doing the basic requirements. The basic requirements for the government are: one, you have to get your proper IDs and registrations. What that ID means is it's called your unique entity identifier. Before you can bid on any contracts, you have to have a UEI number. This is very similar to an EIN number for your business, but it's exclusively for the government. When you get registered on a platform, it's called SAM.gov. SAM.gov is essentially the portal that you have to get registered on in order to be paid from the government and to bid on federal contracts. When you register your account on SAM.gov, you will get what's called a unique entity identifier, and after that, we are good to start bidding on contracts. Now, a part of the SAM registration process and just the basic requirements are going to be you selecting industry codes. In the government, they call these NAICS codes. It stands for North American Industry Classification Systems. Now, these codes are, again, pretty similar in the name. They're industry codes that describe exactly what industry you work in. These codes, if you are having issues running in and finding out what codes are a good fit for you, you can use NAICS.com. You just plug in a few keywords and it will give you the codes that are applicable to your industry. Once you have your NAICS codes, you need to understand what type of business you are. Small businesses versus large businesses operate differently. They have different regulations and rules that they have to follow. Typically, if you're brand new into government contracting, you're more often than not going to be a small business. So you really need to research and understand what rules and eligibilities that gives you, because being a small business in the federal government is a huge advantage. And the final piece, again, just registering for SAM. Once we're on SAM.gov, we can technically start bidding on contracts. Now, once we've done the Assess Your Business, your basic requirements, now we're going to move to the How to Win Contract section. Now, the How to Win Contract section is essentially a guide breaking down all the different variables of government contracting. This is where you can get into a lot more of the research side of government contracting. Again, doing spending research, finding out and searching for larger primes or smaller prime contractors. And so the first 3 sections are going to have on here is the Find Contract section, the Marketing to the Government, and Handling Protest. Now, when you're looking for contracts and when you do that first registration through SAM, what's going to happen is the government is going to create a profile for you. It's what's called the Small Business Search. Now, essentially what happens is you register in SAM.gov, the government will auto-create it. It does it on its own, so it's not a profile you have to create, but it's going to create a profile called the SBS profile. They're going to take your contact information on SAM and publicize it on this SBA website. This website is exclusively used for government agencies and prime contractors to go and find businesses to either invite them onto contracts or for primes to utilize as subcontracting. If you are a small business, there are some larger small businesses that are on this profiles as well that you can search, reach out to, and eventually partner with as a part of your process. All you have to do is click on the link here, and it's going to bring you down to this page. And for example, if you plug in the keyword cybersecurity, It's going to give you a ton of companies that are going to have that keyword cybersecurity inside, where you can click on their profile. Again, I'm going to be doing tutorials on a lot of these websites individually. So if you want more information about it, just wait a week or two, and a lot of these videos should be uploaded here shortly. But SBS is fantastic. If you are not familiar, get familiar. Now, once you've properly fixed out your profile, we're going to have contracting opportunities. Now, contracting opportunities are going to be in a lot of different areas. If you're doing state and local, you're going to have your own procurement portals. If it's a federal opportunity, they're typically going to be posted on SAM.gov. I do have a video breaking down how you can find contracts on SAM.gov. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to check that out. GSA schedules are probably another conversation. But again, we'll be doing videos on a lot of these individual pieces that require a little bit more information. Now, subcontract opportunities. A lot of companies don't know where to go for subcontracting opportunities. Subnet is very similar to SBS, but it's a database that primes will go in and post subcontracting opportunities on. You want to be active in Subnet. You also want to be active in marketing out to large primes as well. They won't know you exist if you're under the water. You have to put your head above the surface and let the primes and the government know that you mean business. Subnet is the best way to do that as a subcontractor. And then they're going to get to the marketing section. Now, the marketing section is previously what we talked about on page 1. You're going to have profiles like FBDS, like USA Spending, the Small Business Office. All these are different resources that you can use to gather more information on your industry so you can understand, hey, if I want to work with the DoD, what are they buying? How often are they buying? What areas geographically are they buying? So that way you can sell your services. An analogy I like to use for this is if you're selling water, it's easier to sell water to a person who just got done completing a marathon versus somebody who's sitting in their house. And with the government, you always want to make sure you're selling water to a person who just got done a marathon. And these are the websites that are going to help you do that. Now we're going to go to the type of contracts. Now, type of contracts are going to be in a variety. You're going to have joint ventures. You're going to have set-aside contracting programs. You're going to have set-asides for small businesses. And if you're not familiar with what a set-aside is exactly in the name. It's contracts that are exclusive to groups, right? So, for example, if it's a contract is set aside for a small business, only small businesses can bid on them. Now, we're going to have two different types of set-asides. We're going to have competitive set-asides, which means that at least two companies are, bidding or performing on this contract. And then we're also going to have sole source. Sole source are contracts that are no bid contracts. They're not competitive. The government can come directly to you with a sole source award and eliminate the competition process. Some of the best form of contracting comes from sole sourcing, specifically if you are a veteran, woman, minority, or hub zone based business. Now, set aside different programs that they have. So you're going to have 4 programs within the government. You're going to have 8As, which are typically for minority or disadvantaged businesses. You're going to have Hub Zone program, which is a program for companies that are in designated areas that are deemed a hub. You're going to have woman-owned and veteran-owned programs these are all exclusive groups. Whereas a business, if you qualify for one of these, whether you're a minority in a hub zone, a veteran, or a woman, there are federal certifications that you can get that create set-aside contracts, set-asides for veterans, set-asides for women, and all agencies are mandated to award a certain percentage of their contracts to these groups. So if you qualify for one of these, please do this before you start bidding on contracts. It will not only give you a lot more opportunities that you have at your disposal, but at the ones that you're currently bidding on, you will be able to increase your likelihood of winning those contracts. And how to certify. So the certify section for the verification process, it's typically going to be done through the SBA. So you can just click on this link here and it will bring you into certify.sba.us. And you could start your certification process. Now, joint ventures are also a fantastic way in order to start partnering with larger companies. Maybe they have the financial backing, maybe you have the expertise, maybe they have the financial backing and the expertise, but you have the eligibility of being a veteran, woman, minority, or in a hub zone. These are great ways, and a lot of large companies want to connect with your firm. So it's best to make yourself visible to a lot of these larger companies, where it can not only open up subcontracting or just overall partnerships, but can also lead to joint ventures. Now we're going to go to the size standards. So size standards, and I'm just going to keep this pretty simple. You have really two types of companies. You have large companies, you have small companies. Large companies deal with a completely different rule set than small companies do. So really, when you're registering your business, you just want to make sure you understand what you're eligible for. And specifically, if you're a small business, there's a lot of benefits that come with that. So just make sure that we are doing your research. Make sure you understand what size of a company you are when getting registered, because again, that can determine exactly the route you take for contracts. Now, the prime and subcontracting requirements. This is probably, in terms of government contracting, understanding the differences of being a prime and being a sub are probably the two most important things, and not just the basic understanding of, hey, as a sub, I'm working with the prime and the prime is working with the government. Again, there's a lot of rules and red tape that we have to kind of peel the layers back on to understand exactly the best way to go about it. So one of the biggest and most important rules for contracting is if you are an other than small business, which AKA means a large business, certain contracts, I think the threshold is $750,000 if it's a non-construction related project. If it is construction related, it's $1.5 million. Those contracts have a requirement to follow the Federal Acquisition Regulations 522199. This requires them to create subcontracting plans for small businesses, veterans, hub zones, women, and minorities. So if you qualify for any of those, or just a small business in general, understand that these large competitors that you probably envision a lot of the time stealing all of the contracts is not the case. Most contracts that you're going to go after will typically be done in a set aside or in a small business set aside status. So a lot of the times these larger companies have to partner with you in order to fulfill obligations. That's where marketing becomes a very important piece in this, because if you aren't connecting with the larger primes, it's harder to build out these subcontracting plans for these larger firms. And again, there's a lot of rules and regulations that these larger companies have to deal with. The better you are at understanding what those regulations are, you can cater to the larger primes' needs even more. Now, when you are limits on subcontracting. So as you can see here, under certain kind of set aside, small business prime contractors are required to perform minimum levels of work. What that means is, if you are a veteran, you're just getting out of the military, you may not specialize in a direct service that the government buys, but you say, hey, I qualify as a veteran-owned small business. I can get veteran-owned set-aside contracts. I'm just going to subcontract out 100% of the work and just take a piece off top. Can't do that. You are required to perform minimal work on every single contract that you do. You can't just sub out 100%. So if you are going to be a company who is coming into this and trying just to procure work through the government, leveraging some of the eligibility that you have, whether it be veteran, women, minority, or in a hub zone, just make sure that you are picking an industry that actually is something you can do, like landscaping, like mowing, like janitorial, maybe basic construction, or if you have an IT background. Smaller services that you can, at worst case scenario, if you were to win a contract and have to perform minimal work on it, you have the ability to do that. And those are the basic necessities of how to win government contracts. What we're going to be doing moving forward is every single website that the government has, we're going to be doing a video on. So as we go through this is going to be our fourth video. So as we could start to, make the motions and go through this, I'm just going to be breaking down deeper and deeper and deeper as we go along. This is essentially going to be a government contracting series. So I appreciate everybody who joined and is watching today. Thank you and take care.